Da-da-da-dum. Bam, 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 bam. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mandalorian review from Popcorn Heroes, a weekly review for season 2. Hello, I am Armando.
Hi.
With me, as always, is Pedro. How you doing?
Hello.
And God's gift, Orlando.
Yo.
What's going on, man?
What's going on,
did
man?
you guys like season 2, episode 1 of Mandalorian?
Are we going right into our numbers?
I mean, I don't. It's more of discussion, dude. This is a.
Oh, okay.
We're going.
I didn't know if you wanted to number each episode.
What we've usually done is just gone straight into it. Like, this is spoiler free, man. You know.
We can do that.
We're not. There's no pre this, pre that. This is season 2. You know, you're watching this because you saw season 1 already. Like, this is
Fair
spoilers.
enough.
Spoilers. This whole entire weekly episodic thing we're doing is gonna be spoilers up the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And potential future things that could happen.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys think about this latest episode? The season opener.
I really liked it. I'm glad that it still had the Western vibe. And I liked that it felt like an episodic adventure. But at the same time, it felt like it progressed the main story forward just a bit, which is always good because it did both. It did world building, plus it did, the story was going somewhere.
Well, yeah,
which is always nice.
It essentially progressed the story with two lines he had. You know, I'm looking for more Mandalorians to reunite the child with his people. That's all you needed to progress the story.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, a lot of the Boba Fett stuff was big with progression. Because he's clearly going to be... I mean, I wouldn't say clearly. He's clearly going to be some type of antagonist coming up. You would think. Because there was so much setup.
That was his armor, right? That was Boba Fett's armor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're pretty much confirming that filler episode that we were all kind of like, last season, the one in Tatooine, where they killed Mulan, Ming-Na Wen, and then there was these boots that kind of showed up
dead?
Next to her.
Was Mulan
Yeah,
dead?
dude, she got super dead.
Because I remember him picking her up. Oh, he shoots her, right? That's what it was.
No, he doesn't shoot her. What shot her was like the rookie kid to get information on Mando. And then her body was there. He just left the body. And then you see some mysterious boots walk over, and everyone's like, oh, that's Boba. And that's it. And then there was nothing for the rest of the season, and we're just like, fuck was the point of that? Now it seems like it was Boba, because they went back to Tatooine, and there he is. That's clearly Boba Fett, because it's the same actor that played as all the other clones. And that armor, Orlando, was the exact Boba armor, because it confirmed it was the dent on the helmet, which is like a classic Boba thing. And he probably got it when Boba escaped from the Sarlacc pit, and that's probably why the coloring is all fucked up too, because maybe, I don't know, some type of acid, some type of damage from being in the stomach of this creature. So, I mean, they're clearly going to dive into it later, but that's kind of the gist of what they were going for. Like, yeah, he's alive, and I'm guessing he's going to want his armor back, because that's kind of how they ended it, with him driving off into the sunset with the armor, and Boba's like overlooking it, like, give my shit. So,
I'm guessing
that's going to be...
That was Boba who was looking on the on him.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, that was Boba.
I mean, it's technically possible that it could be Rex or someone else that's a clone, but I'm 99.9% sure it is Boba.
Yeah. You gotta think about it. This is after the end of the Empire. And if we go by the canon, Rex at this point is, he's old with white hair. So, that was
he fought on the Battle of Endor. You're right, he did have a beard, so yeah, that couldn't have been Rex.
That was not Rex. That was definitely Boba.
Yeah.
So wait, Boba doesn't age?
What do you mean? Well, I didn't hear you.
So what were you trying to say? Boba doesn't age?
No, they do age, but Rex is older than Bubba. Because Bubba was a little kid during the Clone Wars.
I like how you call him Bubba. Bubba Gump.
Bubba Gum Shrimp, man. What did you think about Orlando?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think it's one of the strongest episodes of Mandalorian in general. So I really
Why did you
enjoyed
feel
it.
that way?
Maybe it was like just Timothy Olyphant's character was just really like compelling, and it kind of showed a little bit of background on what happened with the Empire, and then like the Raiders that came in. It was just well written and like just a solid episode. Like there wasn't, like Pedro said, it was like filler, but the good amount of filler where like it progressed the story just a little bit. And yeah, like even like the CGI with the whatever that shit was called, the dragon, that shit was really cool. Like and like it added so much more lore with the Sand People.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was overall just a great episode for sure.
I got a Cowboys and Indians vibe with them and the Sand People. You know, that they were very tribal, and it's not necessarily that they're villains, because you know in all the old cowboy movies, it's like, oh, the Indians are killing us. It's like, nah, you're just fucking on their land, and that's essentially what they were kind of doing. Like, oh, you started a town in their land, so yeah, of course you guys are gonna fight. So it that's just threw in further the Western parallel, and it was just kind of nice to have a little dragon in a cave and them working together type of trope. Like that's trope for sure. That's always done, but it was nice to see that in the Star Wars mythos.
Yeah.
There was even a funny callback, which I didn't catch, but someone brought it up, and it was exact. The part where Timothy Olyphant has the armor on, he's got the jetpack ready, and he's kind of telling Mando when the dragon's coming towards him, like, I'll help you, and then he hits him on the back with the jetpack, and the jetpack just malfunctions and goes nuts.
Yeah.
It's like almost frame for frame of the malfunction that Boba has in Return of the Jedi when Han whacks it in the same spot. So it's pretty much showing that jetpack has a huge malfunction when you hit it in the right spot. But it was the same like sideways zip where it almost looked like someone pulled you with a wire.
Yeah.
So it almost looked like a practical effect. It was just a funny little thing, and I didn't catch it till someone side by sided both scenes, and I started cracking. I was like, oh my god, it even looks like you just got yanked. I thought it was a cool little like super in depth Easter egg to it. Yeah. Obviously, Filoni's doing no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. This episode was essentially written and directed by Jon Favreau, so which is pretty cool.
I actually didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, no, directed by. Oh no, my bad. I'm looking at season 1.
You're looking at the wrong.
You are correct. You are correct. Chapter 9. Jon Favreau. Very nice.
Yeah, but of course, you know Jon Favreau's doing this very closely with Dave Filoni, so
yeah,
you know, Dave Filoni for sure did all these little things so people could catch that, like you said.
Yeah. Have you guys ever watched Deadwood?
No.
So in Deadwood, Timothy Olyphant is the main character that's a sheriff of a town. So it felt very Deadwood-ish. And in the show Deadwood, there's a bartender / hitman, and he has this like buddy hate relationship with the sheriff. Anyways, they got that actor back to play as the alien bartender, because I recognized his voice, and when I looked it up, it was him. So that's just another big callback of that. You know, they were clearly referencing like Deadwood Western, the whole sheriff of the town protecting the town type thing. So I just love that, like all together.
That's pretty sweet.
Another
really
surprising cameo. I don't know if you guys noticed in the credits, it showed John Leguizamo's name.
Yeah, I noticed that one on the credits.
So who was he?
I didn't recognize his voice. In the very beginning, when he was in that boxing match, essentially, and then the Cyclops was... what were they trying to do? A deal for information? To find more Mandos? Is that what it was?
Yeah. He knew... He was a Mandalorian hunter, essentially.
Yeah.
So he went to him to see if he could help him find some Mandalorians, and he kind of betrayed him.
Yeah, so John Leguizamo was the Cyclops. And I thought that was a cool scene because it showed an underworld to Star Wars. Like, we knew there was an underworld because we saw Jabba and all the Han Solo shit. But I'm also so used to the episodes where they don't really dive into that too much. So it was kind of nice to just see that again, and that was something that I really wanted to see more in this show, and I'm glad they did it by showing the typical boxing matches that
are super rigged.
What do they call it? There you go, rigged. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, where they're super rigged and everything. So it just felt like a crime movie, and I liked that it almost like switched genres on you in that episode. So it was kind of cool to see that part of it. And it'd be nice to see more of that. Trying to look at what else. I didn't catch this the first time. There it is. I didn't catch it the first time, but there is a KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic reference in this show.
Oh, shit.
So when they kill the crate dragon, an egg comes out, and then I'm sure you remembered when the sand people go fucking crazy and they're like, oh, with like the fucking egg. The pearl, yeah. So I barely remembered this. I had to look it up and go, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. There's a mission in KOTOR where you need to kill a crate dragon, and then the egg is like a pearl, and that material is used to create lightsabers sometimes. So I was like, oh, so that could be the reason why they got so excited for it. Whether they'll use it for a lightsaber or not, I mean, I doubt it, but it was just a cool little throwback.
Yeah, it's a very, very rare pearl, so it's worth like whatever billions of millions of credits, and so they're definitely gonna sell it because they're scavengers and stuff. What I did find interesting about this episode that I read an article about it. And they say that it's possible that Timothy Oliphant's character, he might have been lying of how he got the armor, Boba Fett's armor, to the Mandalorian, because in the book, they talk about how the armor came back from the Sarlacc pit. So I'll read a small thing here. It says Boba Fett's armor was set up in the Aftermath book, right? So you have to read the Aftermath book. In the book, Vanith takes it after shooting a member of the crime syndicate, the Red Key Raiders. But in the Mandalorian, he gets it after wandering in a desert without water.
Yeah.
And exchanges his crystals for the suit of the Mandalorian armor. Mm-hmm. It is possible that Disney could have retconned it, since they don't give a fuck about anything. Yeah. Or it could be that he's just simply lying to the Mandalorian about it. So they're saying that he probably did lie to the Mandalorian to get him on his side to help him kind of save the city in itself. So the Mandalorian also wouldn't kill him, because if he stole it off of somebody else, the Mandalorian could have just easily killed him.
Yeah, it's possible they could do the whole they could do the unreliable narrator bit. So it's definitely possible. But honestly, my money's more on a retcon, just because something similar happened with the book Ahsoka, which came out way before season 7 of Clone Wars came out. And then that book explained how she survived Order 66. And then when season 7 finally came out, we got to watch it, and it was fucking awesome. Yeah, but people that had read the books were saying, "Oh no, there was complete differences with the way she met and fought Darth Maul to the way she actually escaped. It was completely different from what they wrote in the book. So that's just a straight up retcon, obviously. So yeah, part of me thinks that article could be right and he lied, but just because of that mistake with Ahsoka, I'm thinking it really is just a retcon, and they thought this sounds better. So
damn, that's insane that they're retconning their own fucking books.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when they were like, "Oh, all these books are gonna be, canon and all that," and then you're gonna retcon a couple scenes. I mean, there's small retcons, that's fine and dandy, but it still kind of hurts your cred a bit when you're like, these writers that are writing these books, they don't mean shit, because the show or the movies are gonna override it anyways, 100%.
because that's the more important canon, essentially.
Yeah, the more important canon. But
That's pretty shitty.
So my money's on a quiet retcon, but who knows? We could be that article could be right, and it could be the unreliable narrator bit, because I don't remember them ever doing flashbacks in the first season, so it could be that flashback is just a lie.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Well, there is flashbacks when he was a child.
Oh, you're right.
But other characters' flashbacks, you never really saw that.
No, like not even.
Did the wrestler
Cara
have
Dune?
one? I think the wrestler had one, right? What's her name? The MMA fighter?
Who?
I forgot her name.
No, she didn't have one. Cara Dune? She didn't have one.
She didn't have one? I could have sworn she had one.
No, she didn't have one.
So yeah, so it's interesting that they're showing someone else's flashback. You know, it was they showed they hadn't done that before. Oh no, they showed the villagers from that one thing. They showed flashbacks of when they were peaceful, and how they got when they got raided. The first time.
Yeah, there's that too. So I guess there are flashbacks, but we'll see. But like I said, my money's
very
on
minimal.
My money's on the retcon.
Yeah, man. So this episode was really good. I enjoyed the whole battle. The dragon looked really great.
Yeah.
You know, the way they filmed this, it feels real. You know, not feels real. You know, it's all fake, but the environments feel real. Feel like they're part of it. It feels like they're there. It's shot on location or whatever you want to put it. You know, it feels.
Yeah, they did a good thing. I'm glad that they didn't do the whole Smaug thing from Hobbit, where they show the full body right away. Well, not right away, but you know, the second movie. By the time the second movie comes out, you see the full body, and it's not as scary anymore.
Yeah.
So here, and obviously they were doing it to save money as well, but so did Jaws, and that's what made Jaws amazing. The fact that you kept it like mysterious, you weren't sure exactly how it looks. There's even that funny little moment where they're doing the set pieces, and he's like, "That's not the scale." Yeah. And he's like, "Oh no, it is to scale." And he's like, "Oh shit." And then when you finally just see the neck come out and you think it's about to eat the bantha and it just gobbles up the sand dude, I was cracking. I was like, oh shit. So it was funny, but it also made it scary because you just saw it just like that quiet little just boom and just gobbles it and he just goes right back in. I was like, oh shit. It almost reminded me of Tremors, actually.
Yeah, right.
But I just like that. It added to the mystery of it and it made it look good. If it would have just been fucking moving around and just doing crazy shit without anything to cover it up, I think it would have felt fakey, and this was a nice way to give you the illusion that it's a real good looking effect.
Yeah.
So definitely props to that. Obviously, there's more budget this season, you can tell, but they made it look really fucking good, and I'm glad.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that there's more Moss places. I mean, Moss are quote unquote the cities.
Yeah.
And you know, I didn't really know that or even think about that.
I looked up if that was something created for the show, Mos Espa, and apparently it's in the MMO Old Republic. So they're taking these from everything.
Yeah, they are.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So yeah, I guess there are different Moss places, but this one was clearly like the shithole compared to, you know, Mos Eisley.
And the Moss. This Moss place also comes out in the book Aftermath.
Oh, okay. So that's probably where they took it to. I haven't read Aftermath. There were a lot of reviews saying that it was just okay, so I kind of stayed away from it.
At this point, there's no point in reading any of the books if they're gonna be retconned.
Yeah, if they're gonna do retcons like that.
Who gives a fuck now? Like you're just essentially discrediting your own merchandise. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Like why would I bother to, you know, read the book when certain parts of it are gonna be, you know, taken out?
Yeah, the Aftermath
popular media.
The Aftermath books came out during Force Awakens, or right after Force Awakens, something like that.
Yeah.
That is weird, but I thought it was a great fucking start to the season. It was action packed. Again, lore building, still progress the story. Had a great surprise at the end. So, yeah, it kept you going. And I'm excited to see what else they got.
So, wouldn't you predict that Boba Fett is going to come back?
Because
he's definitely not going to come back anytime soon.
Honestly, I think he's gonna come back the next episode, because the next episode he's gonna stay on Tatooine. So yeah, I see him popping up again already. Because if he leaves to another planet, then how's he gonna run into Boba again? It's gonna be a little weird. It's better to just get right to it, because then you got to do all the Ahsoka shit later. It's no doubt gonna be the second half of the season. So I'd rather them just do first half Boba, second half Ahsoka at this point, like an outline ish.
Yeah. So I see here.
And work from there.
I agree with you in that with that point, because what's the whole point of going off world to come back to the world? But yeah, what do you think, Orlando?
I mean, I agree with Pedro. There's no point of having him in the episode and then not introduce him in the next episode. They usually do that with most shows. With most shows, they'll end the show on that kind of climax, and then they pick off from where they left off. Who knows? Maybe episode 2 would be a strictly Boba episode where it took a flashback of like how he got there, and that's a whole there's gonna be filler episodes in this show. What if it's a whole episode of just Boba and that's it, like how he got there and what he's doing? And then episode 3 they meet up, So episode 2 they go in the past, explain what happened to Boba Fett, and then episode 3 he meets up with Mando. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And what you're talking about actually makes sense of how, because Jon Favreau essentially has written the next 3 episodes, so he's writing up to episode 4.
That also makes sense.
Jon Favreau episodes.
Yeah. That makes sense, because if you look at season 1, the first 3 episodes were a story arc. It wasn't filler. It was the child, and then the whole thing with the Jawas and the child, and the third one was giving away the child and like rescuing him. So it was all a nice little story arc that was contained. So yeah, you guys might be onto something. Since Favreau is doing these, it might just be like a nice back-to-back Boba story arc, which would be pretty nice.
Yeah, man, for sure. At this point, though, if he's written the first 4, he's essentially written his own plot line. And what's kind of crazy, picking up on what you said right now, this is essentially, this will essentially be, maybe the first 4 episodes is going to be an entire 1 chapter, I think. Because after this, episode 5 and 8 is written by 2 by Favreau, 1 by Filoni, and 1 by Rick Famuyiwa. So I feel that starting episode 5, that's when we get all the Clone War characters. Because it's
I was just going to say that.
And directed by Dave Filoni.
Yeah. I agree. Chapter 13, episode 5 of season 2 is definitely going to be all the Rosario Dawson, Ahsoka shit happening. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, it just makes sense. Halfway point. It's written by and directed by Dave Filoni, who knows these characters very well, inside out. Yeah, I think that's the most likely case that's gonna happen here.
Yeah. I just got my fingers crossed for Rex, man. They got the actor for Boba. Just put a beard on him and fucking call him Rex, and then we're set. I'm fingers crossed.
I would love to see Rex, man. He's one of my favorite Clone War characters.
I have a question with the success of like Clone Wars and Mandalorian, and obviously Dave Filoni being in charge of it all. Do you think you think Star Wars is gonna pivot of how it does its movies going
100%.
forward?
100%. I think so.
Yeah. You gotta think about it. Kathleen Kennedy's out. They didn't renew her contract. Her contract is up next year. She's gone. So I think Disney and all these people are building towards what's next after Kathleen Kennedy. Because if you notice, there's no movies announced. The only movies that are announced is a trilogy from this piece of shit that is definitely not going to happen at this point. Then you have the
wait,
Taika.
Wait, who's the piece of shit?
The piece of shit is D&D?
Yeah, D&D.
Or Ryan Johnson.
But D&D dropped out.
Oh, okay. Ryan Johnson has a trilogy.
Yeah, Ruin Johnson. Yeah.
Ruin Johnson.
and then you have the Taika movie, and then you have the Kevin Feige movie, which those two, nobody knows if they're the same or they're different. So you don't know, because Kevin Feige is just producing it.
That's true. He could have put Taika on it.
Exactly. You don't know that. You don't know if they're the same or different movies. So at this point, those movies are not even dated. They're nothing. So I think they're just waiting for Kathleen Kennedy to get out, and whoever comes in to take over, kind of be like, all right, set this up, date it, and put production on it and all that shit.
Yeah, I think with the success of this show and the excitement for Obi-Wan, I think this is going to be not necessarily the complete future, because clearly they're doing movies, but they're definitely going what the Marvel route is. Marvel movies, and then you have the shows to complement it, and back and forth. I feel like they're trying to do the Marvel plan for Star Wars.
Yeah, because the shows, you have a clearer vision of the shows, because you have the Anderson, what's his name? Not Anderson. The Rogue One.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I know who you mean.
Anderson, Carson, I don't know, something like that. So they have a show for that. That show's gonna happen, and it's a prequel to Rogue One. That one has the cast already. That one's gearing up to start filming soon.
Cassian Andor.
There you go, Cassian Andor, and they're bringing back the robot. What's his robot name? Is
K2SO.
K2SO, because Alan Tudyk is back to do that. And then we have Obi-Wan, like Pedro mentioned earlier. That's gonna come too. So you have a clearer vision on what's happening on Disney Plus than you have of the movies. And I think as soon as Kathleen Kennedy is gone and they put whoever is coming in next, that's gonna kind of give you what's the future of Star Wars from there.
And as long as they keep them different genres, I think it'll keep it interesting. Because, one of the biggest thing was like, Star Wars fatigue. Yeah, but if you make one, I don't know, spectacular, galactic, or more warlike, and this one's more Western-like, and then maybe you can go Knights of the Old Republic and get more Force, lightsaber-ish. If you keep them different enough, you'll have a variety of a genre.
Because right now, like you said, Mandalorian is like a Western. And the Cassian Andor is going to be like a spy movie. And,
yeah, right. It's going to be,
And then the Obi-Wan show is definitely going to be a drama. There's no way you cannot make Obi-Wan not a drama. So like you already have these shows already have their own different feel. And what will be even more awesome is like what Pedro mentioned. When we talked about Pedro's getting the Han Solo series too. That would be amazing, because now you know what was Darth Maul doing after 6, and Rogue One, not after 6, right? After 3. After 3. What is he doing between 3 and 6 at this point? No.
What is he doing between 3 and Rebels?
Rebels. He dies in Rebels.
Spoiler alert: he dies in Rebels.
So yeah, you're right. So what happens between 3 and Rebels? Which Rebels is right before 4, right?
Rebels is right before Rogue One and 4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right before Rogue One, because that one kind of leads into it. So yeah, it would be amazing to see what happens there, because he took over the underworld. What did he do when he was with the underworld?
Yeah,
and you saw that,
and
you
also
saw that piece of it.
Yeah, and also Daenerys' character did the same. She's working under him, so there was so much story because they were clearly trying to plan a trilogy, and that never went anywhere. So yeah,
and all those actors will definitely come back for a show. Daenerys would definitely do a show. This guy, he was doing a show. The Han Solo guy was doing a show.
But it got canceled. He got canceled.
He got canceled. So like he has time. So Donald Glover, I think he said that he's willing to. Oh, they're gonna also do a potential show of
Lando
Calrissian, and Donald Glover is gonna come back to do that. So like you see, like the Disney Plus has kind of a little pieces here and there, and if they ever end up happening, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna he could do that, the Han Solo show too. So it's kind of like, why not, man? Why not?
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah,
so they should definitely continue that story.
We kind of went off a bit of a tangent of the future of Star Wars, but I'm sure it'll all play out afterwards.
Yeah. Well, the future of Star Wars is a lot of it happens in this show. This show is gonna open up Pandora's box of what's coming soon. You know.
I think so. Especially putting Ahsoka into live action, that opens up possibilities.
And if it's true what they say, they're gonna spin her off. Another show. Look at another show is gonna happen out of this. So the shows are popping more than the movies, and I think the movies are gonna show themselves once Kathleen Kennedy's gone.
Do you think that they'll retcon or fix the new sequel, the trilogy?
No,
I don't know. I think they're gonna just ignore it. I think they're gonna ignore it as much as possible, and then kind of like how they ignored the prequels, and then they were like, "Oh wait, we could make an entire show to fix it," and then they did Clone Wars to fix the prequels. So I kind of feel like they're gonna do the same eventually. They're gonna kind of ignore it and then go, "Oh, let's make a show to fix up the plot holes."
Between 7 and 8, I mean 8 and 9.
Yeah, they could do anything. But
you don't
they're
know what
definitely
happened between 8 and 9.
Yeah, but they're definitely gonna ignore it for now, for sure.
Definitely.
That's a smart play.
You have to, man. You're gonna have to distance yourself from all that crap until you could, make it successful again. The films. Until they don't have a hit, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna go call back something that was so divisive between the fan base. So yeah, it's just gonna be interesting, and this shows the key to it all, because this show opens up a lot of goodies, especially the midway point of the show. If our prediction's correct here.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, gents. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
No.
No, that about wraps it up.
All right, good stuff. Let us know what you thought about season 2, episode 1 premiere of The Mandalorian. What did you think? Did you enjoy it as much as we did? What do you think is coming up next in the show? What is the future of Star Wars looking like in your eyes?
Pretty damn good, I think.
Let us know all this and more. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Later, guys.